My name is Tad Shalom Tiarana, and I'm a partner at Padishal McAuliffe in Chicago. I'm also the vice chair of the American Bar Association's section of intellectual property law. Padishal is delighted to be a sponsor of this year's 2021 Mark T. Banner Awards, and I'm happy to be here to extend our congratulations to this year's honorees. We hope that you enjoy the program.
Welcome to the 2021 Mark T. Banner Awards program. I am Binal Patel, president of Banner & Wyckoff. As a former friend and colleague of Mark Banner, I am especially proud to be congratulating this year's honorees. Like me, many of you were fortunate enough to know Mark Banner. He was chair of this section, and he was widely known as one of the best IP trial lawyers in this country. He was a mentor to many, a friend to all, and he was a pro at bringing out the best in those around him. The Honorable James Donald Smith, Karen Temple, and Philip Hampton exhibit those same great qualities. Mark would be proud to know that this award was named after him, and Banner Wyckoff is thrilled to see his legacy live on. Congratulations again to this year's honorees.
My name is Paul Myrick. I am chair of the Patents Division of the IPL section and a partner in the Houston office of Baker Botts. Baker Botts has over 180 IP professionals worldwide, and we are proud to be a sponsor of today's event. Congratulations to today's honorees, and thank you for your continued commitment to the practice of intellectual property law. We hope you enjoy today's program.
I am Todd Baker. On behalf of Kirkland & Ellis LLP, it is my honor and pleasure to welcome everyone to this year's Mark T. Banner Award program. Today, we'll be recognizing and celebrating three extraordinary stars of intellectual property law: Karen Temple, Philip Hampton, and James Smith. Each has had an indelible impact on the IP profession. This year's recipients are not only the best of the best at the practice of law, they serve as mentors, role models, and trailblazers. I, for one, have personally benefited from their guidance. At Kirkland & Ellis, we seek the very best diverse talent and look forward to grooming the next generation of Mark T. Banners. Thank you and enjoy the program.
So welcome, everyone. It is my very great pleasure to preside at the Mark T. Banner Award event of the ABA section of Intellectual Property Law. We're delighted to celebrate with you. Congratulations to our distinguished honorees, James Donald Smith, Karen A. Temple, and Philip Hampton II. Greetings to today's speaker, Bismarck, Myrick, and to all of our participants. I want to convey special appreciation to our sponsors for the 2021 Mark T. Banner Award. I want to also thank you to Bolsonelli, our platinum level sponsor, and to all of our sponsors who are making this program possible. The ABA section of Intellectual Property Law is proud to be a founding partner of the American Intellectual Property Law Education Foundation. Now it's called the Foundation for the Advancement of Diversity in IP Law. We stand beside the Foundation's mission to support members of the underestimated racial and ethnic groups in their pursuit of careers in intellectual property law in the United States. The Founders programs work to increase the awareness of the IP profession among underrepresented racial and ethnic groups, to provide financial support to those individuals who demonstrate interest in a career in IP law, and to accelerate development of a more diverse community of IP. Today, we're going to hear from two amazing recipients who truly represent and advance the best of the IP profession. This section established Mark T. Banner Award in the name of our late chair, Mark Banner. He was an extraordinary champion of the ABA, our community, the IP profession, and its future. But this award isn't a memorial to Mark. Instead, it's a living tribute to what he stood for. For him, teaching and educating was a special passion, a labor of love, as he called it. All honorees share in exemplifying and carrying Mark's ideals and passions. For those who are awarded have contributed in many ways as extraordinary teachers, practitioners, writers, speakers, or innovators. in IP law. Many of you know this year's distinguished honorees, each of whom have risen to the top of the profession and the US government, have made exemplary contributions to IP and its community. They are the champions of the words that Mark once wrote in an email to his sister, Pamela Banner Krupke: write, speak, listen, and law. And then he emphasized, well, write, speak, listen, and then the law. Now, before we introduce the honorees, I have the pleasure of introducing our speaker today, who's Bismarck Myrick, the director of the Office of Equal Employment Opportunity and Diversity at the USPTO. Bismarck Myrick became the director of this USPTO office in July 2008. Previously, he was its deputy director. Before joining the USPTO, Mr. Myrick worked as an appellate review attorney in the Office of Federal Operations at the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. Prior to the EEOC, he worked as a trial attorney for the Baltimore City Department of Social Services. Bismarck Myrick received a bachelor's degree in communication studies from Florida State University and a Juris Doctorate from the University of Missouri, Columbia. So welcome, Bismarck.
If you're like me, you recognize that this is a year like no other. I want to express my sincere hope that you and your loved ones are remaining safe as we return to some semblance of normality. Thank you for inviting me to participate in this program honoring such worthy members of the American Bar Association Intellectual Property Section. I especially want to thank my dear friend Terry Ray, who was my boss when she worked as the deputy director of USPTO. And I also want to thank Amy Mandel, who's done a lot of the work behind the scenes to make sure that this award ceremony goes off without a hitch. My work at the United States Patent and Trademark Office has evolved over my almost 19-year tenure at the office. My work began with an intense focus on the employees of the USPTO. I have to remind you that the USPTO is not just a place where you submit your patent and trademark applications, or where you seek admission to the patent bar, or where you make arguments before the Patent Trial and Appeal Board. But in addition to all of these extremely important functions at the USPTO is also a large employer. The people who work at USPTO are among the most sought-after job seekers in the American economy. We're competing for talent with the hottest companies and law firms in the country. This means that we have to work doubly hard to make sure that we're able to recruit and retain job seekers. One way that we do this is by investing in each employee so that they feel uniquely valued and included. I've been fortunate to have contributed to so many of these initiatives over the years. So before going any further, I'd like to greet my USPTO colleagues who are also members of this section and viewing this event. I also want to take the opportunity to thank those of you who have supported the USPTO's work. I have to confess that one of the largest changes I've witnessed over the years is an increasingly strong relationship with our stakeholders. So thank you for supporting us. Our diversity program is no exception to this focus on stakeholder engagement. In recent times, our stakeholders have asked about how we at the USPTO have engaged a diverse workforce. I've been delighted to share how we have done things like establish 19 diversity-focused employee resource groups, provided managers and supervisors with the tools that they need to manage a diverse workforce, modernized recruitment from sea to shining sea and on the lovely island of Puerto Rico. I've highlighted my internal diversity podcast called the Diversity Download. I've talked about how we host the federal government's premier single-day diversity event, Community Day. These are the things I used to discuss, but today is a new day. The murder of George Floyd seemed to be a transcendent turning point. By transcendent, I mean that we are now not just discussing disparity in law enforcement. We're discussing disparities in housing, education, healthcare, employment, and access to capital. I cannot remember a time when diversity was more in the news, and our thinking is evolving. Today, we're thinking more about equity than equality. Equality is the notion of giving everyone the same thing. Equity, on the other hand, is a more difficult concept. It involves giving people what they need to participate. I think about this as the difference between providing your 4-year-old the same amount of food to eat as you would provide your 14-year-old teenager. Equity is a lot different. We at the USPTO are looking hard at issues around equity with a lens toward providing stakeholders with what they need. Right now, we're conducting equity assessments that are designed to improve access to USPTO services in the broadest possible group of stakeholders. We've also launched an initiative called the National Council for the Expansion of American Innovation, led by my colleague, Valencia Martin Wallace. We are dedicated to ensuring a customer-centered approach to providing our services. For those of you outside of government, I applaud your leadership. You are heeding the call from your clients to employ an increasingly diverse workforce, and you are working to expand the understanding of intellectual property protection and its benefits to a new generation. Thank you for the work you're doing. I look forward to establishing new partnerships and exploring new ideas. In working together, we can expand the pool of active contributors to the American economy and also bring to life discoveries that will prolong or improve the quality of human life. The individuals you are honoring today are heroes in our profession. They have gained and held the respect of their peers over long careers. Importantly for me, they've created space in their profession for the discussion about expanding opportunity. Because of their demonstrated competence and commitment, today's recipients have also performed a great deal of uncompensated work. They have taken pay cuts to work in the federal sector. They have mentored a disproportionately large group of young professionals who sought them out because they were the only ones who looked like them. And they have served their communities as volunteer experts on intellectual property. The annual Mark T. Banner Award honors exemplary individuals like those we honor today. In conclusion, I was once an active student member of the American Bar Association. At that time, I wanted to be a personal injury lawyer instead of a civil rights lawyer. And I remember one concept that's important in personal injury law: contributory negligence. Contributory negligence is the failure of an injured plaintiff to act prudently. It's where the injured party's actions are considered to be a contributory factor in the injury suffered. Today, I want to coin a new term: contributory success. Contributory success is where we acknowledge that our actions are not the sole cause of the success we experience. The success we are only beginning to experience occurs because of the contributions made by individuals like the ones we honor today. Thank you for allowing me to play a role in today's event, and congratulations to the award recipient.
Thank you, Bismarck, for those remarks. Hi, everybody. I'm Denise DeFranco. I'm the Global Head of IP Litigation at Johnson & Johnson. And it is my privilege to announce our first award recipient today, Chief Judge James Smith of the U.S. Patent Trial and Appeal Board. Judge Smith is currently serving as the Chief IP Counsel of Ecolab, based out of Minnesota. And he oversees the company's global operations for the protection of innovation. Judge Smith has had an outstanding career in intellectual property. He began his career in private practice, working his way all the way to the managing partner of Dewey Ballantines' Texas office. He served as the assistant dean at Emory University's School of Law, and he has led in-house teams from 3 global multinational corporations, Lexmark, Nokia, and Baxter International. One of the first people to recognize the potential of a then young James Smith was former Chief Judge Paul Michel of the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit. Back in 1985, Judge Smith hired our James to serve as his first full-term clerk. Judge Michel has this to say about Judge Smith. James brought joy and excitement to the daily duties of a law clerk that spread throughout chambers, enlivening other clerks, staff, and his judge. He held himself to the highest standards, always seeking near perfection and stimulating all around him to do likewise. The ensuing decades of his career in top positions in both leading global companies and prestigious law firms, as well as at the Patent Trial and Appeal Board as its first chief judge, were no different. Although the very model of an inspirational leader, his joyfulness makes working with him fun. The current chief judge of the PTAB, Chief Judge Scott Bolick, who served as a vice chief to then Judge Smith at the PTAB, has this to say about Judge Smith. Judge Smith's leadership was instrumental in establishing the PTAB and ensuring that it carried out the functions intended by Congress when it enacted the America Invents Act. During his tenure, Chief Judge Smith presided over a dramatic expansion of the board in size, geography, and jurisdiction. The board more than doubled in size while maintaining the highest professional standards of its judges. It expanded geographically by hiring judges in each of the 4 regional offices of the USPTO. And it also expanded its jurisdiction by successfully implementing the post-grant trials under the America Invents Act. Judge Bolick concludes his remarks by saying, Chief Judge Smith left behind an impressive legacy of accomplishments at the USPTO and served as a role model for those like me who followed in his footsteps. I too have been privileged to cross professional paths with Judge Smith, and for that I am forever grateful. And with that, I'll turn it to you, Chief Judge Smith, with my sincere congratulations.
Good afternoon. Thank you, ABA Intellectual Property Law Section. What can I say? I am surprised and certainly elated at this recognition and being a recipient of the Mark Banner Award. It certainly would warm anybody's heart. Those of us toiling in the various fields that we toil in don't expect and wouldn't ordinarily have our colleagues in the profession, those who've gone before us and who are following us, recognize our achievements. That's more than we bargain for when we enter a field of endeavor with the purpose of feeding ourselves and our families. So thank you so much for taking any time to look at a few of the things I have done, and even more so, thank you for putting some stamp of approval on the journey I've traveled in the law. All of what I have to say here really should be framed in thank yous. Thank you, of course, to my parents who provided all the things around positioning me for a career in the law. And thank you to many, many people along the way who took the little that I brought to the table and helped make it more than it would otherwise have been. And that, of course, includes many members of the ABA Intellectual Property Law section. I only won't mention names because I would likely leave out the names of people who I for sure should mention, people who helped mentor me, helped celebrate the things I did correctly, and helped me learn away from the things I did incorrectly and sometimes minimize their impacts. Thank you. That includes so many people in this section. And mainly, perhaps I should say thank you for the work that I was allowed to do that probably drives this award. And most of all, the work serving as the Chief Administrative Patent Judge at the US Patent and Trademark Office. So I will make an exception to what I said only a while ago about not mentioning any particular individuals. Judge Paul Michel, who allowed me to be his law clerk back when I certainly had even more to learn about law practice than I have yet to learn. His contribution to my growth was enormous. Another key, if not bookend, certainly milestone would be that of the appointment to the position to serve as Chief Administrative Patent Judge. And for that, I look to David Kapos as the person to be the very appropriate recipient of my thanks for trusting me enough to be allowed some part in the enormous challenge that involved the transition of the Board of Patent Appeals and Interferences at the USPTO to the Patent Trial and Appeal Board, the PTAB, which has become an acronym as firmly ensconced in the IP lexicon as any in so short a time of 9+ years. Many people will not be fully acquainted with all of what happened in that time period. And in my short remarks here, I will just conclude by speaking to some of what happened there as a reminder to those of you who now embrace the PTAB, are fully involved in its activities and largely driving its evolution. The Board of Patent Appeals and Interferences had 95 judges. The PTAB has about 250, and we were charged in a period of not more than about 2 years to find and select for nomination the judges who serve on the PTAB. That was an enormous lift, and it was ongoing while 2 other major challenges were being tackled. The Board of Patent Appeals and Interferences in the 2010-2011 timeframe had an inventory of 28,000 appeals. That inventory is now 6,000 cases. During the first 5 years of this 9-year period, by enormous effort of the judges and other staff people at the PTAB, first the BPAI and then the PTAB, we brought about the inflection in the growth of the backlog so that it started to head downward at a sufficient level so that we might undertake the third of the big challenges, which was the new jurisdiction for the post-grant proceedings, which came in at 3.5 times the rate that anyone predicted. If we could identify 3 big challenges, maybe that would be those would be the challenges: finding the new people, because people are always the most important thing anyway, tackling the work that pre-existed, preparing for the work to be done. And if we were to add a fourth challenge in that time period, it would be positioning the PTAB bench to operate in 5 more offices, 1 more in Washington, the Washington area, and 4 more in other states across the country. Thank you for the recognition for any of that work or recognition for any other work. It's more than I expected or that I am entitled to. All of this is a privilege, and I'm enormously glad that and happy and appropriately taken with my undeservingness. So enjoy the program, and my tribute also to the 2 other recipients of the award this year. It is even more a privilege for me to be on the same slate of recipients with those 2 people. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Joe Gratz, a partner at Dury Tangri LLP in San Francisco. I'm honored to introduce our next Mark T. Banner Award winner, Karen Temple. Karen was the 13th Register of Copyrights, heading the Copyright Office from 2016 to 2020. Testifying before Congress during her term as Register, Karen emphasized her vision of a copyright system, quote, which promotes the progress of our nation's culture from traditional creative industries to the flourishing tech landscape. With its robust framework of rights and limitations, she said, it's not surprising that the United States leads the world in both entertainment and technology. Before her term as Register, Karen served as Associate Register of Copyrights and Director of Policy and International Affairs at the office. In that position, she headed the Office of Policy and International Affairs, which represents the Copyright Office at meetings of government officials concerned with the international aspects of IP. She joined the Copyright Office in 2011. At the Copyright Office, Karen led the US delegations for the Beijing Treaty on Audiovisual Performances and the Marrakesh Treaty relating to exceptions and limitations for print disabled people. She supervised a massive effort to modernize the Copyright Office as part of her strategic plan for the office. Prior to her work at the Copyright Office, Karen was in-house at the Recording Industry Association, at DOJ, and at the Williams and Connolly firm. She clerked for the Honorable Nathaniel R. Jones of the Sixth Circuit after graduating from Columbia Law School as a Harlan Fiske Stone Scholar, senior editor of the Columbia Law Review, and chair of the Columbia Black Law Students Association. Bringing us up to the present, Karen is presently Senior Executive Vice President and Global General Counsel for the Motion Picture Association. As the featured guest recently on the Heels of Justice podcast, an appearance to which I commend your attention, Karen was interviewed about her path to the great success she's enjoyed in her career. She said that we all need to fail from time to time in our careers because that means we are doing our best and pushing ourselves. Karen's string of successes has shown that she has certainly pushed herself and others to reach for excellence. Her personal excellence and her role in the contributory success of others, as Bismarck Myrick put it, has set an example for the whole copyright community. Our congratulations to you, Karen, on this well-deserved award.
Thank you very much. It is truly a pleasure to be named one of the 2021 Mark T. Banner Award honorees this year. Of course, this has been a tough year for all of us in numerous ways, both personally and professionally. But at the same time, we've seen a continued resilience of the human spirit, coupled with a plethora of new and innovative ways to approach our daily lives. For many of us, creativity and artistry have been a huge part of that resilience, whether it's listening to soft music as we meditate, our favorite upbeat song as we exercise, reading that novel we previously couldn't find time for, or binge watching a new series that just for a day and for a little while takes us completely away from our day-to-day pressures. Creativity and art, just like Calgon, and I know I'm showing my age with the reference, can take us completely away and renew our spirits so that we can energetically confront another day despite what the world may throw at us. Since I was a child, reading my favorite science fiction or romance novel or watching my favorite teen angst movie, I've valued and appreciated the way authors and artists have added color and joy to my life and my personal growth. I remember reading every book by Beverly Cleary, every single Judy Blume novel, and feeling that each one spoke to me directly in some way. Waiting feverishly for that next Sweet Valley High romance to come out, or watching every Molly Ringwald film and feeling that she understood my teen awkwardness and would have been one of my best friends, or learning breakdancing from Beat Street, feeling that teens could conquer the world from movies like E.T. and War Games, and being scared out of my wits from Nightmare on Elm Street. So I truly feel fortunate that I've been able to devote my legal career to supporting and protecting artists and creativity. From my time as a junior litigator for the RIAA, to my time heading the U.S. Copyright Office, and now as general counsel of the Motion Picture Association. I've seen how much effort and resources are put into creativity behind the scenes, and how personal artists and authors feel towards their artistry, as they should. I've never understood the attempt to devalue artistry and creators, or question whether they are entitled to get paid for the fruits of their labor. Our IP system is brilliant in that way, as it permits those who want to share their works freely to do so, but it also allows those who cannot afford to make their art free to have the framework necessary to be able to make a living doing what they love. The internet and online world has sometimes upended that important framework as we've tried to balance creativity with new untested legal theories. But slowly and surely, the law always eventually catches up. It has been an honor of my career to do my part to assist in that endeavor. So I thank all of the creators, artists, authors out there who have brought such color and joy to my life and the lives of so many others. Thank you for your devotion. I also want to thank all of the mentors, teachers, friends, and colleagues who have supported and encouraged me to continue to dream big and to persist. Finally, of course, thank you to my parents, Ronald and Juanita, who inspired and supported me in every step of my career and for whom I owe everything. Again, I truly appreciate this great honor and look forward to continuing to support and protect creativity and creators in the coming years. Thank you so much.
Hi, and happy Thursday to everyone. I'm Gregory Novak, and it is beyond my extreme pleasure today to be here with everyone and to play a small part in the prestigious awards that we're giving out today, and by simply introducing the next recipient of the 2021 Mark T. Banner Award today. As June mentioned in the opening remarks, our section is aligned with the Foundation for the Advancement of Diversity in IP, and we stand behind the Foundation's mission to support members of the underrepresented racial and ethnic groups in the pursuit of careers in intellectual property. That is an important mission, and it's proud to be a part of that. Our next recipient has championed, embraced, and encouraged throughout his entire career all that which the Foundation seeks to achieve, along with our section. For over 40 years, my partner, Phil Hampton, has confronted past barriers that existed well beyond the time that these unfortunate barriers were common and never should have existed. He has championed and mentored many others who are now successful and respected in IP law, including my partners, Mike Pegues and Jonathan Spivey. In doing this and overcoming these barriers, achieving and embracing the profession, Phil has always done this by following the words of his mother to not get angry, but to work to be the best. In following his mom's advice, he has undertaken that similar labor of love as that of Mark Banner. Phil has said that becoming a patent attorney was the best accident he has ever made. His accident has benefited many of us, and without doubt will benefit many others to come in our close profession and community. Like the other recipients, which we congratulate and again, proud to be associated with today, Phil has excelled in both private practice and government service and has helped to weave the tapestry that ties together generations of IP lawyers, which again shows how our profession is close and well positioned to mentor and advance others as we go forward to achieve success, both for ourselves, more importantly, for all of those others that we can help to take forward. Phil is known for all that is set out in his bio, from starting in private practice in 1979 at Kenyon, along with our close partner and friend, Larry Oliverio, to his time in the USPTO, heading the trademark office with our late friend, Q. Todd Dickinson. And Phil is also a litigator, and including litigating a case that shows the history of how we are all tied together all the way back when he tried to depose Don Quigg, who was the head of the patent office, as many of you guys know, under President Reagan. So it's a great history, backed with loyalty to friends, humor, and care for all, that brings us to Phil's present job today, and his latest example of exemplifying all that it stands for with the Mark Banner Award, and that is he is the Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer here at our firm, Polsinelli. So it's with all of my best congratulations and those of all of us here at Polsinelli that we thank Phil and we congratulate him as being a recipient of this year's Mark T. Banner Award.
Good afternoon. I want to thank the officers and members of the IP section for presenting the 2021 Mark T. Banner Award to James Smith, Karen Templeton, and yours truly. It is a tremendous honor to receive an award named for the former chair of this section and a leader of the intellectual property community. The past recipients of this award have been transformative figures in intellectual property, which is why I was so pleased to hear that James and Karen were receiving their awards today. James has been a bright light in patent law for a number of years, and Karen transformed not only the Copyright Office, but how we consider copyright law in the United States. When I was informed that I too would be receiving an award today, I was overcome with fear. What did I do to deserve even being considered to receive such an award? And how could I share the stage with James Smith and Karen Templeton? And while I've had a great career as an intellectual property attorney, including 5 years at the trademark office, in intellectual property law by an affiliate of the American Bar Association in itself was transformative. You see, when I went to law school, I knew two things: that I would never be a patent attorney and that I would never be associated with the American Bar Association. Patent law was out because it was supposedly boring and not intellectually stimulating. And the ABA, of course, was out because of its racist legacy of refusing to allow African Americans to join its association for most of its first 100 years. My transformation started slowly. First, I realized I had been given bad advice that patent law was indeed intellectually challenging. Then I was exposed to trademark law and discovered that it was an outlet for my creative, non-technical side. At the same time, I realized that the American Bar Association was shedding its imperfect past, that it was becoming more and more receptive of and inviting to lawyers who were not old white men. In the ABA IP section, I discovered a cadre of friends and mentors, that I could become part of a posse of lawyers who wish to diversify the IP profession. Folks like Sid Williams, the first African-American officer of this section, who lent his name to a program that offers scholarships to minority law students who want to become IP practitioners. Through the Foundation for the Advancement of Diversity in Intellectual Property Law, formerly the AIPLEF, and other majority and minority bar associations, hopefully I have helped to transform the look of our profession. So, in accepting this award today from the IP section, I truly want to share this award with my fellow travelers along the road of diversity and inclusion in IP. And in particular, the IP section of the ABA. Thank you all.
I'm Bob Armitage, and I had the honor in 2019 of receiving the Mark T. Banner Award. I'm part of today's festivities, however, for another reason. 2 decades ago, one of today's awardees, Phil Hampton, was instrumental in bringing to life an initiative to advance racial and ethnic diversity in the patent law profession. It was through his persistence and passion, teaming together with a small group of other IP bar leaders, that an entirely new organization was born with a singular DEI mission focused on IP law. Phil's efforts helped to launch the Foundation for Advancement of Diversity in IP Law, where for the past 5 years, I've served as an ABA IPL section designated trustee. Phil was not just instrumental in helping to create the foundation, but later served as its president and has remained active in the foundation's work, serving now as an emeritus trustee. Today's Mark T. Banner awardees, James, Karen, and Phil, to my mind at least, are living proof that the vision of a single individual can make a difference across an entire profession. While many new initiatives may take a village to bring to reality, it often takes only a single individual to inspire such work. So today is a day when I feel privileged to assist in honoring not just one, but 3 such inspirational individuals. This brings me to recognize today someone else whom I've known for almost half a century and who is no less an inspiration. In addition to Phil, in a very real sense, I owe my presence on today's program to Sid Williams. For more than 20 years, Sid and I were professional colleagues at the Upjohn Company. Sid, much like Mark Banner, was one of those principled, selfless leaders in the patent profession, but with a special challenge. He was a nationally recognized leader in our bar when the IP bar leadership would have been exclusively white, except for Sid. Just as Phil Hampton has done, Sid has devoted much of his prodigious professional energies to advancing diversity and inclusion. When it came time for the Foundation for Advancement of Diversity in IP Law to launch its first DEI program, it was clear to everyone that this new organization's very first DEI program should honor Sid's pioneering contribution to the IP bar. It was for this reason that in 2002, the Foundation's Sidney B. Williams Jr. Scholar Program was born. As we move to the conclusion of today's program, we will hear from two individuals who are proud to be known as Sidney B. Williams Jr. Scholars. One is from the first class of scholars selected in 2002, and the other is from the 2020 Scholar class. First, we'll hear from Dale Davis, who is Chief Patent Counsel and Assistant General Counsel at Cummins, Inc., and currently serves as a Foundation trustee. He'll give you some additional insights into the Foundation and the Scholar Program. Then, from the 2020 Scholar class, we'll hear from Sarah Serig. Please listen carefully to Sarah. It will be an opportunity to see and hear the future of our profession.
Hello, my name is Dale Davis, and I am the Chief Patent Counsel at Cummins. I am also very proud and humbled to share with you that I am one of the early scholars, the early Sidney B. Williams intellectual property scholars. I was very fortunate to receive this scholarship while I was a law student at North Carolina Central University School of Law. I would like to thank those who helped me on this journey, specifically Professor Charles Smith of NCCU Law, Sidney Williams, Bob Armitage, Bill LaFuse, Phil Hampton, and all of the other trustees and stakeholders and corporations and law firms that donated their time, their resources, and their funding to create this amazing program. Why is it amazing? Funny you should ask. Let me tell you. The DIPL, which is the Foundation for the Advancement of Diversity in IP Law, not only provides scholarships, we provide one-on-one mentoring. We provide summer internships. We provide connection points for students who are entering into their law school career all the way through post-graduation. I'm very humbled and excited to now be a trustee. So all of my learnings, I'm able to share and to give back to the organization that gave so much to me. And let me tell you something else too. Very recently, I was directing one of my outside counsels on a particular matter. And one of the younger associates shared with me that he is, in fact, one of our more recent scholars. I was so proud to know that in a little way, some of my involvement helped fund this young man's law school career, and now he's a registered patent attorney. So will you please consider getting involved? There's a strong need for more patent attorneys, IP attorneys that look like me. Okay, so how could you get involved? Funny you should ask. That's your second great question. So consider getting involved at the macro level. Consider getting involved with the DIPL through participation, through donation, and through any other way. Even if you're not involved in any of those things, mentor someone, and you'll be amazed at down the road that the legacy that you're helping to create, that the legacy of the Phil Hamptons who we're celebrating and others have given. So I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to me, and please consider giving.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sarah Serig, and I'm honored to represent the Sidney Williams Scholars today. I was born and raised in Egypt, where I pursued my undergraduate studies in pharmaceutical sciences. I was on the top 1% of my class, so I joined the academic faculty in the School of Pharmacy to teach clinical pharmacy to the PharmD program for almost 2.5 years. I then received the scholarship from the American University in Cairo to pursue my graduate studies in the US, where I did my master's in Dallas, Texas at UT Southwestern Medical Center and my PhD at Harvard Medical School. After graduation, I joined the faculty at the University of Wisconsin-Madison here to teach pharmacology and drugs of abuse to the PharmD students. I've been teaching here for almost 4 years now. I've always been interested in patent law, especially during my PhD. So last year, I decided to pursue my dream and I joined the University of Wisconsin-Madison Law School. I'm currently in my spring semester and it's been a fantastic experience so far. I really enjoy studying law and more importantly, it was a very enriching experience to meet everyone here in the law school. Each person has a unique experience and a unique background, and I've been humbled to be one of them. It was also amazing because I made the Dean's Honors List last semester, so it's been a fruitful experience for me, and I've been encouraged to continue and to succeed in the rest of the semesters as well. My interest in patent law is mainly in patent litigation about pharmaceuticals and the introduction of generic drugs into the market. These cases are known as Hatch-Waxman Act litigation cases or the ANDA litigation. I was also been lucky to land a very interesting summer internship program. I received actually the diversity scholarship from one of the biggest firms that pursue these kinds of cases, and I'll be joining them in the summer in San Diego in California. So far, I'm grateful to be one of the Sid Williams scholars, and I'm very humbled to be mentored by one of the best lawyers in patent law, Mr. Bill Lafuse. He's been great, and his advice has been very essential for my success in law school and also for landing this great opportunity for the summer with the Fish and Richardson firm. Again, I'd like to thank the organizers for inviting me to speak today, and I hope I meet every one of you soon, and please stay safe. Again, thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy the event today. Thanks a lot.
I want to congratulate all our honorees for this well-deserved recognition, and thank you very much to all the sponsors of the 2021 Mark T. Banner Award Program. We take our hats off to the past honorees and to those we will celebrate in the future. You demonstrate the passion, dedication, and love for intellectual property that is the essence of this award. Thank you to all of you who joined us today to celebrate this occasion. Thank you.